Yon!
Yon!
Nice! Kamusta, Mark?
Wow.
Ayan na, medyo YouTuber look tayo ngayon, ha? Yeah! Yan. Pag may budget na ako, bibili din ako ng gano'n. Yung para microphone mo. Kaya, support nyo kami. Yan. Support nyo kami para may budget kami dyan. Yan. So today, ang pag-usapan natin is the favorite topic of all, which is social media. No?
Yun.
At ang gagawin natin dito is i-breakdown natin, i-compartmentalize natin one by one yung mga different platforms, ano ang silbi nila, no? Anong meron diyan, anong petsa diyan, at ano yung mga political discussions diyan, and what are going to be the impact at ano siguro yung magiging future of political discourse and Philippine politics pagdating sa trend lines na nakikita natin dito sa platform. So, just to be honest, of course, ako, limited yung aking exposure to all platforms. More busy ako on Twitter. You can see that on Facebook, among others. But dito, si Mark, si parang Mark, no? Si Comrade Mark. Ayan, YouTuber talaga
YouTube
yan.
and TikTok. Yun naman.
YouTuber extraordinaire at saka bad influence sa akin. Pina-TikTok niya ako. I still have to get to the TikTok. I posted one video, it did thousands already. So, mukhang TikTok is a very interesting platform. No? It's very different. I'm still gonna find time for that. But Mark is doing very well dun sa TikTok. Nakita ko na yung mga issues, including yung mga walk-in vaccination site, mga ganun. So you can actually use TikTok, hindi lang pang pa-cute, no? But actually to raise information. Kaya very thankful ako kay Mark. Kasi dati iniiwasan ko talaga yung TikTok. Baka pagtawanan ako ng mga colleagues ko and friends. Kasi ano yan, pa-cute ka na naman dyan. Pero nung nakita ko kay Mark, na actually pwede, you can use it for raising social awareness among other things. Kaya pag-usapan natin lahat yan, and is TikTok the future? No? Considering isa Chinese Tencent yun, di ba? So, diretso yung data mo dyan sa headquarters ni Dada Shi, no? So, yan ang discuss natin. But of course, let's first start with YouTube, no? Because I think, to be honest, YouTube is still underappreciated sa Pilipinas.
Very much.
Big yan.
Very much. Oh.
Alam ko, Mark, malaking bagay ng YouTube sa US, as in politically speaking. Of course, in the past, I got to know people like, I don't know, Jordan Peterson, mga ganun types, no? Through YouTube. Alam ko yung mga taong gano'n, no? Sumikat sila over YouTube talaga, eh, no? Ben Shapiro, yung mga gano'n. But at the same time, nakita ko over time, even yung mga left, no? Yung kabila, yung kalaban nila, they're also using YouTube very well, no?
Oh,
grabe, ang lakas sila. Well, Young Turks have been around for a long time, but ang dami mga iba, no? Mga new ones nandyan sa YouTube. So I've been really fascinated by the YouTube world. But to be honest, limitadong pagkaalam ko dito sa Pilipinas. No? Yung kaalaman ko ay napaka-limited about the YouTube world in the Philippines. Kamusta dito? At base sa alam ko, parang kayo-kayo lang, Mark, no? At saka yung mga DDS at Marcos supporters nandyan, no? Yung mga liberal, mga wala masyado sa YouTube, napakahina, no? Ang presence sila. No? So yun ang pag-usapan natin, Mark. Alam ko, Mark, you wanna get in. But before we get there, let me just start here, no? Mark, so
I watched it kanina.
Yun!
Yung Paul fight.
So your fellow YouTuber, man, just beat by a split decision. No? Nakita ko yung scorecard, no? A former UFC champion, 5-time UFC champion welterweight, someone I really like for throughout the years kasi honestly, super fan ako ng UFC. Zuffa days pa. Alam mo yung time na parang walang weight class, walang rules. Lahat, any sports. Yung parang wala na, pwede mo yung mukha, lahat, pwede nun eh. So noon pa lang fan na ako. I mean, I started with Taekwondo at the age of 9 all the way to black belt, and nag-boxing ako. So I've been trying to go to MMA. Sana mag-jiu-jitsu ako kasi na pandemic eh, mahirap mag-jiu-jitsu ngayon, di ba? So tingnan natin siguro after booster shots, hopefully next year, no. So I'm really a fan of legit martial arts, no. And alam natin MMA really started with Bruce Lee, no. So, talagang genius si Bruce Lee. He brought different sports together and nag-start yung kickboxing and then later on Muay Thai. So I can go through the history of that and we can discuss that later on. So I'll be honest, Mark, nung nakita ko itong mga YouTuber na yan ay naghahamon ng mga professionals or ex-professionals, to be honest, medyo part of me, medyo purist na parang kapal naman ang mukha ng mga yan. I mean, just because you have huge following doesn't mean you should do whatever you want. And at the same time, alam ko, Mark, to be honest, alam ko maraming mga fighters ay underpaid, no? I mean, they're putting their life at risk. Lalo sa UFC, no? MMA. People can choke you out, pare. Iba yan. Ibang level yan, di ba? Hindi lang knockout and choke you out and all. So, guillotine choke among others. So, so for me, parang nai-insulto siguro yung sport. I'll just be honest. Few years ago yun ang mindset ko. No? At sino tong mga Paul brothers na So, I was a little bit annoyed by that. First, nung nag-away yung mga YouTuber versus YouTuber, di ba? Yung mga first fight ng mga Paul brothers. Tapos, undercard nila yung mga pro bouts. So, what the heck is going on? Diba? Sabi ko, never mind. Boxing naman yan. Laos na yan. MMA tal. And then, nung hinamon na yan, si Ben Askren. And then, ngayon si, Woodley, Tyron Woodley. Parang what's going on? But at the same time, Mark, so I'm gonna give this to you now, no? Kasi we're gonna go to YouTube. I'm just saying from my side, no, from my bias as someone in the mixed martial arts and someone not really into YouTube until recently, parang insulto yan, no? At siguro pera lang siguro habol ng mga to. Lalo yung Ben Askren fight, parang gusto lang niya kunin yung check at uwi na siya, no? But this one looked very competitive, no? Very, very competitive split decision. Tinirain pa ni Mayweather si Woodley kasi galit na galit si Mayweather kay Jake Paul. Ginawa yung hat niya, sinuntok pa siya.
But that's Logan, kumuha ng hat.
But man, serious talaga itong mga Paul. They train very well, man. I mean, I've seen their training. They're solid. I mean, I don't know if they can really fight at the highest level of boxing, whatever. But man, I mean, they're really dedicated and all. So now, let's go to you, Mark. Anong feeling mo? Your fellow YouTubers are beating people I used to look up to, and I still look up to in some ways.
So ako ang feeling ko, YouTubers are bringing the sports of boxing into the 21st century. So yun yung
hindi lang mainstream, talagang 21st century.
21st century. Boxing has always been mainstream. Pero over the last few decades, napag-iwanan na siya. Hindi siya nag-innovate. Parating nag-aaway yung mga, hindi mo na maintindihan yung WBA, WBO, ang daming
mga yes. Overlapping pa nga eh.
Yun, and hindi na nakapag-innovate yung sport. And doon nakakita ng opportunity itong magkapatid na Paul brothers na to. Of course, nagsimula nga, before Showtime, nung simula pa lang YouTubers versus YouTubers, doon tapos they fell in love with the sport, and marami naman nagsasabi kahit yung mga professional na commentators, they're saying na the Paul brothers are giving respect to the sports. Diba? They're really training hard. They're bringing in experts na mag-train sa kanila na talagang training that they just don't do it as a money grab.
At athletics sila, no? I mean, they're athletic. I mean, they're genetically gifted. I mean,
yun. So, from the start, meron they're already genetically gifted. Kailangan na lang nilang i-improve yung kanilang skills. Pero of course, hindi pa rin katulad yan ng mga talagang OG original na mga boxers talaga na nagtitrain since parang before teenagers pa lang very young age. Boxing 11, is all they
12,
do.
14. Yeah,
12, 14. Ganun pa lang, nagtitraining na sila. So, they don't have yung ganung edge over the other boxers. But they are trying to catch foundation up. Yun. Pero what they lack doon sa years of experience na yon, they make up in their knowledge of how to get people's attention. Kasi in the 21st century, it's all about getting people's attention. How do you make people care about yung the content you're producing, di ba? Kasi kahit
attention economy. Attention economy yung term dyan. Attention
yun. So, kasi di ba nasabi mo yung nasa undercard nila, puro mga professional boxers. Pero di ba, pakialam ko ba dyan sa mga professional boxers na yan? Pero example, yung sila Logan Paul versus KSI at that time, I've been following them for many years na. So, meron emotional attachment na yung viewers doon sa makikipag-boxing. So, you're interested talaga. And of course, dadagdagan na nila. They know how to make drama. Diba yung nga si Jake Paul kinuha yung hat ni Mayweather ganun, and they know how to build up yung storya. That's what they're good at. Sa YouTube yun yung training sa amin kung paano mag-clickbait tsaka paano bumuo ng storya. So they how to make something more interesting than normal, diba? So perfect fit doon sa combat sports kasi which is talagang syempre
hype,
you have to back up.
It's all about hype.
Hype siya. Pero you have to back up your hype.
Right.
Diba?
With talent, with training.
Kasi kung wala ka naman talent, magugulpi ka lang din dun sa So perfect fit for them. And Jake Paul has been very smart with choosing his opponents. Kasi yun ang difference ng dalawa Si Logan Paul is more of an exhibition type. Si Jake Paul, he really wants to make this a career.
Yeah. At mas bata pa siya siguro.
Mas bata
let's see. But I mean, for me, of course, I mean, the first person who gave us a preview of this was Conor McGregor. No, nakita natin na parang he's a natural influencer, right? Like the way he projects himself, yung tattoo niya, yung looks niya, yung post-fight, pre-fight, everything, no? At saka yung the way he positions himself in the ring. So at alam ko si Jake Paul, he used to look up to Conor McGregor. Of course, now things have changed, no? Trash talk niya na si Slippy McGregor. But I think noon pa lang, no, I think Conor McGregor kind of gave us a kind of preview of what's going to be the future here, no?
Yeah.
Naalala ko, Marga, few years ago, hinamon ni Justin Bieber si Tom Cruise na mag-MMA or something like that, di ba? Tapos si CF Punk, di ba, pumunta sa UFC, MMA, gano'n. And then nag-crossover si Conor McGregor with Mayweather. So I think that, kumbaga, hindi out of nowhere itong Jake Paul phenomenon. I think it really built on the, what I call the age of spectacle. No, I mean, you may have all the talent, pero kung boring ka,
no one
cares,
will watch you. No one cares
exactly.
about you, di ba? And then Jake Paul has a very specific na ano, ito pala, meron siyang skill na very important sa panahon ngayon. And that is trolling. Jake Paul is the ultimate master in trolling.
Yep. Grabe.
Di ba? What he did to Mayweather, di ba? Yung pagkuha ng cap, yun, he's the ultimate troll. Alam niya how to...
Mayweather na yan, ha? I mean, Mayweather has been through a lot of trash talk, but ibang level yung batang yan. Yeah, grabe.
And yung kay Dana White, yung away niya kay Dana White, he was able to, di ba? Na talagang...
Even si Daniel Cormier, fat boy ang tawag niya. I mean, this guy's two-time UFC champion. I mean, insane. 2-division champion, heavyweight and light heavyweight. Grabe, no? But do you think, I mean, di ba may movie na parang Inside the Mind of Jake Paul or something like that? Na parang some people are saying parang psychopath na yan eh. Again, I'm not being judgmental. I'm just saying like some are saying like it takes certain talent but it also takes certain twistedness to pull this off. Kasi grabe, like constantly yung trolling niya at parang he believes the trolling even though you know it's a show but he kind of embodies it. Like ano ba yung mindset? Ikaw as someone who does YouTube, like how do you do it, the act and character, but at the same time, authentic? I mean, like, how can you authentically act? Yun yung sobrang amazing about this YouTuber na nakita ko ngayon eh.
I think that's the edge ni Jake Paul over Logan. Yun ang sinasabi nila. Kasi si Logan, medyo, he wants to be like.
Sakto lang.
Gusto niyang, medyo pag-good boy pa siya ng konti. Gusto niya yung praises ng tao. Jake Paul, he doesn't care.
Thank you pa siya kay Mayweather na hindi mo ako ni-knock out. Something like that. Right?
Ganon. Oo. Gusto niya, he wants to be a likable person. Si Jake Paul, on the other hand, yun nga, yung term na sinabi ni, yung documentary sa kanya na ginawa before ni Shane Dawson.
Yes.
Yung nga, parang,
inside,
na may ganong character si Jake Paul. Na which fits perfectly doon sa ginagawa niyang career sa boxing. Pero ako yung yung sa while watching the fight, yung mga 4th, 5th, 6th round, parang kita mo yung pagkapagod kay Jake Paul eh. Parang sa akin hindi ganoon kaganda yung yung 4th, 5th, yung mga dulong rounds. Na parang pagod na siya eh.
Yeah. I mean, that was the concern with McGregor, di ba? Si Conor is like a one-round super guy and then second, third round, nakita natin, in some of his fights na talaga nag-gas out siya. So I think, kung performance guy ka, you want to get the knockout first, second round. So if you cannot get that, medyo mahihirapan ka. No?
Hirapan eh.
Woodley is
Woodley parang lang eh. Trained eh. Kaya parang kalmado lang siya. Pero yun nga, I think Jake Paul landed more clean shots. Kaya he won by
more
points
aggressive
siguro.
Throughout the fights. More aggressive throughout the fight. Makanong bayad dyan sa pay-per-view. I mean, I remember sabi ni Mayweather, this is legalized robbery. Like, people are willing to watch bullshit fights, like, but they're gonna fight, but it's like bullshit to you, right? I'm sorry about that. But ikaw, ay makanong binayad sa pay-per-view. Kasi alam ko yung... Sorry, like, kasi alam ko yung isang skill ni Jake Paul is that even if you hate me, you're gonna watch me. In fact, you're gonna watch me even more because you hate me. So I'm still gonna get your attention.
Yun. Kaya yun, nagagamit talaga niya eh. He's using it all the way to the bank eh. Diba? Nung last kay Askren, he made, I think, 8 digits.
20, diba? 20 million, hindi ba? 25 million, I think. Yeah. And then 500,000 yata binigay kay Askren, right? But I mean, but Mayweather would have been in even better fight. But let's say, I think Pacquiao, they have been calling out Pacquiao or something like that. Nasabi ni Pacquiao, I think 2 months ago na he's not gonna fight YouTubers. But you never know, right?
Never
Sabi
know.
Ni Conor, never
the
say
money
never.
is there eh. Tapos, syempre, he has to think about his health. yung kanyang, 'di ba, mga
Yes.
concussions and all that. Pero
Oo, at
tingnan mo,
this stage,
si Woodley kanina, 'di ba? Naghamon siya ng si Woodley pala dun sa
Rematch?
laban. Naghamon siya ng
Yeah.
rematch. He was willing to get tattooed, "I love Jake Paul."
Yeah.
Just for the rematch. Just for the
Rematch, yeah.
yung for the money
And
he
sabi
will
ni
make
Jake Paul,
dun
you
sa
had your
rematch.
chance.
Oh, pero yun nga, parang sabi nga niya, if you get a tattoo, baka we'll get that rematch.
Yeah. Maganda naman. Wala naman nangyari yata masyado. I mean, it was a clean fight. It was technical in that sense. Hindi siya yung mga basagan ng mukha.
Maganda nga sana kung may knockout talaga eh. So, pero masyadong...
Wala rin na knockout sa Mayweather and you know, the Logan fight. So, I mean, it's exhibition in good sense. Alam mo, I kind of agree with the 21st century statement you made. I mean, Logan is more like millennial, right? Tapos mas malapit sa Gen Z.
Gen Z si Jake Paul.
Si Jake Paul, no? So, I think this is also about reaching out to Gen Z. Kasi Gen Z, iba yung... Again, I know binabash kami mga millennials, no? Pero, iba rin ang Gen Z. Iba talaga sila sa millennials. They're totally different. So, I think this is also about catering to the new generation and the kind of attention economy that also brings about, which is very different from millennial and definitely from Gen X and the rest, no? So, you're right. I think it's about tweaking the same kind of parang the same sweet science but different packaging, different approach, no? So this is ikaw, how far do you think this is going to go? Like, do you see like Jake Paul going all the way fighting for real championship? I mean, like,
it depends kasi how good he is eh. Kasi yung sa laban na kay Woodley parang medyo medyo parang I'm not sure nakita na na yung mga
medyo
weakness ni Jake Paul eh. What more when he fights yung mga talagang trained na boxers na, di ba?
And Woodley is 40 years old, right?
Yeah, yung pa.
I mean, he looks good, but dude, I mean, 40 is different. Iba na talagang 40. I think kung siguro small gloves yan ng MMA, they could have knocked out each other. Malaki kasing gloves ng boxing eh. Mahirap mag-knockout yan. Talaga you have to be super good. So I think, you know, if small gloves, baka may knockout na dun.
Pero in fairness nga to Jake Paul, he could have gotten an easier opponent. He got Woodley, di ba, na may punching power.
Yeah, pero he had to prove something also, di ba, na hindi joke time to. So in fairness to him. So now, that brings us to the issue of YouTube. Kamusta ang YouTube sa Pilipinas? Kasi yun nga weird eh. Marami kang tatanungin ng Pilipinas, alam nila yung mga YouTube stars sa US, but the YouTube community in the Philippines seems to be quite dominated by certain people of certain persuasions pa, no? In a sense na wala pa rin balance eh. What we see in the West, no, may mga Democrats, may mga progressives, pro Bernie Sanders, pro Trump, all of them are strong there, no? Millions of followers, everything like that. Wala pa tayo diyan masyado diyan, no? Ikaw bilang isang among the pioneering YouTubers, I mean, paano ka pumasok sa YouTube? What is your story? How did you build up your audience and ano yung state of the play diyan sa YouTube? And anong advice mo sa mga tao na hindi pa masyadong involved sa YouTube but are actually, you know, influencers in their own ways but there's perhaps limiting themselves, no? Including me not long ago, right? Yeah.
So, yung dun sa question mo, I'll start muna with sa akin. I started doing YouTube 2018. I tried lahat ng klase ng YouTube pero
so 2018 lang. Wow. So you're new.
I'm new.
Ang bilis mo nag-build ng audience, ha? Wow.
Oo. Pero yung Models of Manila has been around since 2016 pero Facebook, Instagram. 2018 I started, I experimented with all kinds of content. Wala masyadong nagki-click. Pero nung after the elections of 2019, doon sumipa yung content ko about Vico Soto. So I became a pro Vico channel. And at the same time, around that time, doon din sumipa si Yorme Isko. So I became a pro Isko channel. So doon na tumakbo yung YouTube ko. Doon na siya tumaas. And that's how I became a full-time YouTuber.
Right.
During, it started that time.
So yung question mo, is it because guwapo tong mga to? I mean, like, ano yung packaging? Kasi obviously you did showbiz, a bit showbiz, and then now you have, you know, good-looking politicians, young, charismatic. Like, ano yung, obviously you connected the dots, Rob. But sa tingin mo, what makes them interesting? Like, genuinely, people also are interested in the politics and the policies of, you think, Vico Soto and Isko? Like, pogi lang mga to, like, follow natin. Anong basa mo dun sa audience mo?
Yung kay Vico kasi it's more of an underdog story. So yung the hype of Vico Soto lasted for around mga 3 months lang. But Vico kasi is not a parang hindi siya high profile masyado eh.
No, ayaw niya na media. Ayaw na media. I mean, I think it's
so the
consciously like
interest
that.
in YouTube quickly died down. So paminsan-minsan na lang din ako nag-upload pag merong malaking balita.
Although he's a great mayor, let's just say.
Yeah,
he does his job well. Ayaw na magpa-cute and all. I like that. Mismo, very much respect.
Yeah,
respect
and malinis. Talagang
malinis.
Yun ang
God bless,
okay kay
God bless
Vico.
him. I'm very glad.
I keep on supporting talaga, and sa election next year I will support Mayor Vico. So yung kay Isko naman sumipa nung sa ginawa niya sa Divisoria kasi it showed political will.
So can you refresh our minds? So ano yun, like pumunta ka sa Divisoria nung nililinis yung area?
I remember before sumipa talaga ng husto si Isko kasi may kliyente ako sa Binondo. So pagtawid ko ng recto, pagtingin ko sa kanan ko, ba't nawala yung mga nagtitinda sa gitna ng kalsada dito? So tinanong ko si Kuya, Kuya, nangyari dito? Ba't wala yung mga nagtitinda? Kasi Isko was still papasok pa lang siya as mayor noon kasi kinausap na ni Isko yung police at that time, pinaalis na yung mga vendor. Kaya linis, nagulat ako.
So bago pa lang siya pumasok, alam ng tao, etong gusto ni Isko, they went
sumunod
ahead.
Na yung police, oo.
Wow. Political will.
Political will. Isko wanted to make an impact fast. So I got my camera, shot doon sa Divisoria, nawala yung mga vendors. So that was how Manila Serie was born. So doon tapos si Isko kept it high profile na talagang lahat ng galaw may camera. Yun nga yung criticism sa kanya. Pero I think that's a good thing kasi if you have good projects, you should show it off. Diba? So tumagal ng hanggang ngayon I still cover yung mga projects na ginagawa niya. So as in Isko produces a lot of videos per day. Yung style niya has been copied na by Mayor Emeng of Gapan. So I also follow that. Si General Eliazar. Lahat ng galaw ni General Eliazar naka-video.
Yes.
So kaya makikita mo yung mga tao are more attracted to them kasi
pioneer talaga
naman.
So pioneer.
So doon nag-start yung channel ko. Pero I would do different stories every once in a while. Yung storya nung Dasera, I cover that. Yung kay Bosita, yung kay Francis Leo Marcos. So I cover all type of news na din. So
Mark,
that's
can I ask you, ano yung thought process mo when you're thinking about content and what is your goal? I mean, aside from of course building audience and getting clicks. I mean, the thing with you is I appreciate the bodies nag-reach out ka sa akin as an expert, right? So hindi naman ako pa showbiz or something like that, right? So I really saw na parang wow, I mean, this guy is interested to also see the kind of social science take, no? I mean, in a kind of analytic. So I was very glad, I was very impressed, no? Na parang wow, this guy is trying to combine, the packaging of the showbiz and all, but at the same time with substance, with analysis and all. Ikaw, so how do you think about your content when you come up with them? And anong goal mo talaga dito aside from again being a great YouTuber that you are?
Yeah, of course. Syempre, as a YouTuber, this is my full-time job. Ang unang pumapasok sa utak namin.
So 2019 ka na
full-time. After the Vico and Isko incident.
Yeah.
So kasi before that, I was getting mababa yung views So after doon, I was getting consistently good views na. So I was able na to
sustain the operation.
Quit my other job and focus on YouTube. So
2019, no? Naging full-time ka na 2019.
So I've been doing this full-time for 2 years. So
2 years,
ang mindset parati ng YouTuber, lalo na yung kami na full-time, everyday grind yan is of course how to generate the maximum amount of views. Ano ang pwede kong gawin today para to generate ganitong klase ng views? Of course, sa tagal namin ginagawa, alam na namin kung ano yung what style works, what style doesn't. So mas may idea kami what will work sa YouTube and sa algorithm.
Correct.
Ayun,
so hatak, no?
Ano may hatak? What will people click? What will people want to watch? Syempre may halo dyan minsan galit. Pag ginagalit mo yung tao, they would click. Diba? O pag awa.
Visit ako. Yeah.
Awa din. Parang charity, kawawa, mahihirap, tutulungan, iiyak. O awa, they will click. Diba? Or pag gwapo, pag maganda.
Mark, speaking of that, like, what is your take on this kind of misery porn yung sinasabi nila? Lalo ito
poverty
mga foreigners na pupunta dito Alam natin sino, di ba? They come
Pinoy baiting
here.
naman.
Yeah,
I will give my take on both of that.
Anong take mo dyan?
Sige, pareho, okay. Una sa poverty porn, okay? I wrestled, I'm honest with this. I wrestled
Can
morally.
we define? Kasi baka ma-misunderstand tayo.
Baka isipin nila
What
porn
we
talaga.
mean here is that people sensationalizing misery ng ibang tao para mag-generate ng clip. Ay, sobrang kawawa tong mga to. Tinulungan ko sila, blah, blah. So that's what we mean, hindi talagang porn, no? Let's just be very clear about mga matitino kami dito. So just to be clear.
Ang other word for it is charity vlogs. So charity poverty porn and charity vlogs, they're one and the same. Okay?
Yeah.
So ako, I wrestled with this morally for the longest time as a YouTuber. I'm honest, talaga I wrestled with morally. Pero in the end, I decided that I am pro poverty porn, pro charity vlogs. Kasi
do you do it a lot? Do you do it a lot?
No, in my whole 2 years I've done it mga 5 videos sa YouTube.
Yeah, parang hindi masyado, no? You don't do
it masyado for me.
Much.
I do my helping, I do my poverty porn sa TikTok where I don't earn money.
Oh, so that's a different plan. Okay,
I
so
do that.
Nalang taos puso. That's good. That's good.
Ako, it's all taos puso. Pero let me explain ang sarap kasi nung feeling na tumulong. Okay?
Totoo yan.
Of course, 'di ba totoo yan, 'di ba? Tapos when you video pa yung pagtulong mo, then you keep a memory nung pagtulong mo. Pwede mong balik-balikan. Okay? So ang
you inspire others.
You inspire others pa. So that's another benefit, 'di ba? Ang sasabihin ng iba na parang ginagamit mo si ate na mahirap o si kuya na mahirap, yung misery nila. Ang point ko naman, we are a country na sobrang dami ng tao nang kailangan ng tulong. Baka we're not in a especially now. Baka we're not in a position para masyadong mag-inarte. Na ano ko wag ka nang tumulong ng ganyan, wag na. Kasi whether we admit it or not, kung yung mga ibang tao, kung hindi nila gagawin yung charity vlogs, mas hindi nila gagawin 'yon. Mas konti yung matutulungan. So mas may charity vlogs, mas maraming matutulungan, and in some cases nagbabago yung buhay ng natulungan. Kasi it's the same thing nung example yung kay Jessica Soho. Yung alam mo yung bata na may kabayo na 10 years old yata na may kabayo siya. Tapos his life change. Ang daming tumulong, ang daming nagbigay ng suporta, he got back to school, he got a new horse. Right. So in some cases, nakakatulong talaga dun sa natulungan eh. I have friends na YouTubers, namimigay sila bahay. I mean, nakakapagpatayo sila ng bahay for the family. So, di ba?
Wow.
So ano ba naman yung, if you are the poor person, ano ba naman yung ipakita niya ako sa vlog ko? He's helping me out. He's giving me hundreds of thousands of pesos to change my life.
I mean, like at worst, this is a necessary evil to do the right thing. You get the good things done. Yeah. I mean, just in defense of my fellow Kapuso, Jessica, so is that, I mean, they do the research, they go to the community, they build trust and confidence. It's quite different dun sa mga ibang YouTuber, just drop by some Tondo, tapos video selfie. You know what I'm saying? Lalo yung foreigner na pupunta dito just for the purpose of clickbaits. No? Like,
iba namang issue yun. Iba namang issue yun, yung Pinoy baiting.
So I'm just saying there are levels. No? Yeah. So I'm glad that you kind of went deep into this because I think there's some people there who are just looking for the clickbait, flying to the Philippines and then fly out. No trust, no confidence, no long-term support.
I have opinion din sa Pinoy baiting na topic. Kasi ako, kasi kung yung Pinoy baiting,
pangalanan ba natin?
No, it's all right. Obviously yung mga foreigners na pumupunta dito. Pero ako there's nothing wrong with Pinoy baiting, you know why? Kasi everything in YouTube is baiting. When you think about it, minsan I am DDS baiting. Minsan I am. So everything in YouTube is baiting. You just choose which one. Pero tapos you look at it this way. Sabihin na natin na they do a video about the Philippines na about sa ganitong lugar, about sa beach dito, about sa ano dito na Filipinos will watch, di ba? Pero how many people from their home country will also get to watch? It's like free advertisement. So you only look at the side na parang ano, pero at the same time may pakinabang din tayo. So it's a two-way street eh. So it's really not
so diba? Hindi ito yung parang hindi yung mga parachute in and out. Kasi so journalism, that has been one big concern, lalo sa mga CNN, mga ganun, like, di ba, yun ang attack kay Anderson Cooper. Like, okay, tama ka to criticize the government, but you guys can parachute here lambast the government that get out. You know, like parang ano bang moral ascendancy mo? You have not been here. Hindi mo alam yung sistema to lay blame, ganun. But anyways, I get your point. And for me naman, walang mutual exclusivity. You can go and help people. Like I was in Marawi 2019. Tumulong kami sa isang eskwela doon sa area ng mga Maute dati, no? So tumulong kami, nagpicture kami and all. But at the end of the day, we helped, no? But of course, I didn't post videos and everything like that kasi yung ethical concern ko, baka nagbe-bait ako. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, if you shed light on the issue, you make people aware that we have these kids who need long-term support, then why not? So I think if your intention is not super garapalan na baiting lang siguro, I think for me, ethically, maybe it's justifiable. Pero yun nga, may levels kasi, may levels. So I'm glad that in your case, may internal conversation ka and all. Kasi other people are just saying, okay, gusto ko mag-YouTuber, what's the easiest way for me to get an audience?
Totoo ka sa their levels. Kasi meron namang, ito naman yung isang sample na medyo pangit naman. Merong isang YouTuber na we won't name na lang din, na merong social experiment na ginagawa. Na parang, I will give you money pero I will cut your hair. So I will give you money but you kiss my feet.
Gago yan.
Yun, di ba? So yun, may levels na gano'n.
That's exploitation. Iba na yan. Hindi na charity. Ano na yan eh. Parang
but there are channels naman that they show lang. Ito yung bahay nila. Ito yung they live here. They here. So I think there's nothing wrong with showing kung ano talaga yung reality on the ground for the people na hindi nakikita doon.
Alam mo, Mark, akin lang ganito. No? Parang one thing frustrating for me bilang isang Pilipino is like, yes, we have poverty. We have problems, which we'll always discuss. At the same time, we also have millions of Filipino middle class, right? Who are educated, who have been around the world, who are articulate. You know, like, parang minsan feeling ko they just show one face of the Philippines. I mean, as important, as big as that, there are many. Philippines is a country of 1,000 faces, right? Of 1,000 cultures and everything like that. And feeling ko lang masyado tayo na reduce, no? To just one of our aspects. Again, of course, we have to highlight poverty and problems like that. I have nothing against that. At the same time, what about yung mga ibang Filipino, right? Who also have nice stories to say. Kasi when we go to the US, we go to the story of middle-class Americans. Paano sila bumoboto, insurance issues, healthcare, whatever. But what about the Filipino middle class or something like that? Again, maybe I'm just being narcissistic as a middle class. Pero parang feeling ko that's what we miss. Na parang, if you go to YouTube, it's either yung mga super rich, yung mga keeping up with Kardashian types, right? Or it's like, you know, so, I mean, it's like the extremes. When the reality is that there are many also people in the middle, no, whose stories matter. Like maraming Filipino middle class nawalan ng trabaho, so they are pushed down to poverty. That's a different kind of suffering kasi hindi ka sanay, di ba? Or you used to be at a very high level manager, now you have to, I don't know, do Grab or something like that. Again, we have nothing against jobs or poverty or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, that's also suffering. That's also a story. That's also a drama. Na parang feeling ko, hindi masyado na-cover ng mainstream media. And then parang the YouTube and all that's supposed to correct the excesses of the mainstream, they kind of push the extreme of the mainstream.
But I think meron din naman. I think I see it din naman. Siguro kasi
again,
I see more.
Maybe I don't know enough because I'm not well versed. Kaya tinatanong kita, Mark.
Siguro the ones getting attention lang are the extremes. Pero
more attention. Yeah.
Kasi I get to consume a lot of YouTube videos every day. So may nakikita naman ako with Pinoy.
Kasi Mark,
middle class Pinoys.
Like, I think, you know, the hope here is that people have sufficient amount of monetization not to become like necessary Jake Pauls, but just to give them enough resources to make good content. No, so I think that's what I'm glad in your case that has happened. Kasi ako hindi ako nag-monetize until recently, and recently I only monetized few of my videos. And the idea there is that I just want this to be financially sustainable for me. Kasi na-realize ko mahirap talaga mag-edit, mag-timing, everything. You have to put aside time from other works and everything like that. So again, we're not talking about like super YouTubers, Jake Paul type. But if you reach a certain level, let's say 100,000 subscribers to 1 million subscribers, that range can give you sustainability. No, now you can make good videos and feed yourself and help people and everything like that. So I think that's the range we're looking
at. You know what's a good example of that? Kaming what we call Manila vloggers, okay? Sabay-sabay kaming umangat niyan nung middle of 2019 with Isko. Ako kasi ang content ko is more political. So may analytic, may analyze, may ganitong on a political perspective. But siguro lagpas 50 or mga 30 to 50 vloggers that covered that changes that happened in Manila. Yung mga ginagawang park, ginagawa sa Divisoria, all the way dun sa Dolomite. They cover, hanggang ngayon, they still cover the Dolomite.
Malaki yan, Dolomite.
Oh, and most of them, are all came from regular jobs. Office, yung iba security guard, yung iba driver, yung iba. So, nung natuto silang mag YouTube, tapos sumipa yung si Isko at that time, tapos sumipa yung mga content na clearing, they were able to make parang good money for their family na
so
kasi before
na
they were earning minimum wage. So I think may ganung opportunity din naman
may social mobility na nangyari. So Mark, now let's go to the political aspect.
Political side.
Ano yung, kasi we're gonna transition to other platforms and I'm gonna share my points of view. Ano ang sitwasyon ngayon sa YouTube? Sino bang mga malalakas yan? Bakit sila malalakas yan? At what are the lessons for the rest na they're still figuring out whether they should go into YouTube or not?
YouTube right now sa Pilipinas is dominated by the administration. Hati-hati yan sa administration. So there are the biggest sa amin is Marcos loyalist vlogger, si Sangkay Janjan with 700,000 views. He's a friend.
Right.
He, of course, dahil Marcos loyalist ka, he also supports the Dutertes. So he's also considered DBS. Of course, sumunod dyan si Banat Bay at 500,000 subscribers. Siya naman,
who's close to Mocha, right?
Manager of Mocha.
Sa Facebook dati. Yeah. Manager ni Mocha. Okay,
yun. So si Banat may kakasagutan kami recently, pero sa akin wala namang personal doon. Pero he's very influential sa Duterte side. Remember the fight between Velasco and Cayetano? Kaya sirang-sira si Velasco noon dahil kay Banat Bay. He was carrying Cayetano's fight all by himself. And lahat ng mga nambabash kay Velasco was coming from Banat Bay. So he's the most influential sa Duterte, yung diehard Duterte side.
Right.
So marami pa yan. Sila Maharlika, is Marcos loyalist, and
but why do you think they do good? Kasi some would say puro mga clickbait lang yan at saka mga algorithm manipulation lang yan. Kasi generally YouTube conspiracy theory does best, right? Yung mga alternative realities.
Because they're entertaining.
I'm just saying what critics are saying. I'm not saying that's the case.
Ito, many people on the other camp won't admit it, but these people, the ones that I said, are entertaining. Banat Bay is entertaining to watch. Ako, I can watch him.
In what sense? Like balahura, ganon? Like,
he's funny, nakakatawa, he would make jokes, tapos he would lean into parang mga people that mainstream media is lying to us, that ganito si church is ganito. So it's the same thing that's happening sa kila Trump sa US. Yes. They're leaning in dun sa mga kung ano man yung whatever fears some people might have or some kumbaga they just parang ine-expound na lang nila na di ba sa mainstream media merong ibang bad eggs. So they make it appear na everyone
the whole mainstream media is bad eggs.
Oh, yun.
Ang totoong katotohanan ay nasa amin, no? What is sorry, just asking because I'm yet to go through all their clips and all of that. Sorry. But like, are they editing it or is it like the spontaneous type na nagwawala-wala lang siya? Is that what people like it or how is it? Kasi
it's never about the editing.
Walang editing masyado. It's very like
never
plain.
about the editing. It's about what they talk about. Yung topic. People would click what they want to hear. If I talk about Marcos on my channel, Marcos followers would watch my video. So sa YouTube kasi it's all about giving the people what they want. Ang nangyari kasi, ito ang biggest mistake ng kampo ng opposition. For 5 years.
You mean the liberals, mga liberal, mga English
specifically the liberals, the Liberal Party.
Okay.
Specifically.
And their supporters.
Wala silang YouTube presence. They disregard YouTube. But I've been saying it to them, I've been saying it to everyone I know from that camp. Na sobrang importante ng YouTube is where the magic happens.
Because of the algorithm? Because of the algorithm?
No.
Because it's very engaging?
Because of the long form. Because ang haba.
Yeah.
If you read a Facebook post, you read it for a minute.
Few seconds.
A few seconds, di ba? If you watch a Banat Bay video, you watch it for 1 hour.
Right.
It's like it's like your replacement for yung mga taong nanonood dyan, they don't watch Provinciano, they don't watch PBA. they watch Banat Bay. So
gaano katagal ba yung videos nila? Like
Banat Bay, yung live ni Banat Bay can last for I think 2 hours. Yung kay Banat Bay.
So he does live on he does live on YouTube.
He does live on YouTube. Yung iba din ganon. Yung iba naman parang ako 10 minutes they would post that. Pero mahaba pa rin 'yon. Mahaba pa rin 'yon. Yeah, and walang sumasagot
Mark, like
on
how
the
many
side.
posts per day? Like ano yung regular frequency ng content upload niyo? Like how many posts per day you make?
Si Sangkay Janjan, the biggest sa amin, he would post one video a day, it would get around 100,000 views. Ako, I would post 7 videos a day. Tapos it would get
how do you think about 7 issues to discuss? I mean like
I think that's a skill na magaling kaming YouTubers kung paano pahabain.
Isip ka ng
kung paano pahabain yung isang storya. So, you look at all the angles. Kaya nga
serialize it.
Serialize it. Kaya siguro I reached out to you then before kasi I want to look from your perspective. I want to look at this guy's perspective dun sa kabilang side.
Interesting.
It's like ganito I will give an example lang nung kainitan nung Dasera case. 'Di ba? What I would do, I would go to the court, may trial that day, I would make a pre-trial video. Ngayong araw, this is what would happen, ganyan.
Right.
Tapos, the second video ko, darating na yung mga mga abogado and yung mga kasama sa case. Tapos, pangatlong video, I would give updates. Pang-apat na video, pang-apat na video, yung press con after. Pang-fifth video, I would make a reaction to everything that happened that day.
Yeah.
So yun, so if you're interested about that case,
you chop it, salami, slice it. Yeah.
Exactly. It's about kasi if you are really interested in a particular topic, you would watch everything about it.
Every bit of it. Yeah.
Every bit about it.
So
ganun lang yun. You just find a topic that people are interested in, tapos you try to give as much value. Siguro that's the best way to put it na you try to give as much value doon sa nanonood. So they would parang lahat ng chismis about
So Mark, paano mo nalalaman what is the in issue na pwedeng pag-usapan? Like
I look at their videos. Nagtitinginan lang kami.
So sila yung bellwether.
So
bellwether. So parang may stock market, ito yung stock na mainit ngayon, magano tayo dyan.
Yun.
I see. Yeah, kasi going to this issue of YouTube, I mean, I agree. Ang basa ko talaga is liberals tend to be very strong sa Twitter. As in, grabe. Like, punta kang Twitter, kawawa yung kabila. As in, walang traction. Like, like sometimes, siguro nag-post ako ng stuff na gusto ng mga liberals, you're looking at para 40,000-50,000 shares on YouTube, on Twitter, sorry. Which is like insane. Like 40,000-50,000 on Facebook. Good luck getting that, right? But pag kabila, nag-attack, most 200, 300, mga ganun. Like, talagang walang laban. And of course, siguro yabang din ng mga some folks is that, kasi Twitter, kasi limited lang pwede mong sabihin. So, dapat may certain prose and poetry ka, witty ka, di ba? Boom, 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 you got it, no? So, I think many like it, especially mga magaling mag-Ingles or magaling magsalita or mag-isip. So, I mean, Teddy Boy Locsin loves Twitter, right? Because like, that's his thing, right? Trump used to like it in his own way, right? So I think, and Twitter is also very strong in a sense that, pansin ko, kunyari, followers ko, mga ambassadors, French ambassador, German ambassador, potentially presidents and all, hindi ko nakita yung mga thousands of followers, but yun yung mga level. So parang in a sense, it's an instantaneous official level update, no? So even if crazy ka on Twitter, it's where you go to if you want to know the latest nangyari sa Afghanistan, sa Kabul, mga ganun. So I think that's where Twitter is very strong in. And sa US, alam natin yung hashtag activism, no? Black Lives Matter, mga ganun, sobrang strong. So I think a lot of people got quite, I would say, complacent dun sa kanilang power and all. Like, I mean, there was a month I had 14 million parang engagement sa Twitter ko. Like, you can feel good. Like, lakas pare, 14. Good luck getting it out on Facebook. Mahirapan ka, di ba? But I realized na parang, wait lang, parang nagiging echo chamber na rin siguro minsan kasi mahina yung kabila, so they just migrate somewhere else. So who are you beating here, right? So minsan, inaaway na lang ako ng mga liberals, mga ganun, kasi siguro wala silang ibang mahanap. Because ano daw ako, parang I swing it both sides, I take it side. So parang ganun na lang yung level of discussion. So I think that's why I really like your views na wag natin ignore other platform, lalo yung mga long form, which is why we're doing this podcast, right? We're really learning from each other and all.
Ako may question din ako sa iyo, Richard, about Twitter.
Yes, go Mark.
Kasi
go, Mark.
I have 400 followers on Twitter. I rarely use it then. How do I grow my Twitter following? Kasi yung ibang platforms kabisado ko na eh. Twitter, hindi ko talaga, I haven't given it enough time para aralin how to be a power player sa Twitter.
Right.
So, anong advice mo sa akin if I want to grow my Twitter?
Yes, I mean generally Twitter is really hard. I think hardest talaga yung Twitter. Napansin ko na nga, it's really hard sa Twitter. But in my case, I think 2014-15 ako nag-Twitter, nag-start because one of my editors in Al Jazeera English said, kailangan namin lagyan tweet feed mo under, parang naging yun ang uso lalo if you're writing for mainstream, international media. So that's why I started. But it was inactive, siguro mga 50 lang followers, whatever. But when nung nangyaring elections time, I was doing spontaneous commentaries dun sa debate. Lalo yung si Paulo Duterte, sila Grace po. Then nakita ko nag-boom up. I think what you really need to be is witty and instantaneous and boom, 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 boom. You go like that.
Paano nila mapapansin? Through hashtags? Through ano?
Actually, I realize hashtags are not that important over time. But when you're starting, you have to do a bit hashtag. But napansin ko rin na, kasi I did experiments. Like same text, different style. Completely different outcome. Maganda talaga na, first of all, medyo parang symmetrical. Hindi yung banking. And if you're gonna do caps lock, dapat the right words, the right rhythm. So may konting symmetry na kailangan. No? Yung magandang tignan. Even if masagwa, siguro yung argument mo. Pero magandang tignan dapat symmetry. And then, timing. Timing is very important. If may malakas na issue, you go boom, 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 boom. And you just keep on throwing. So, for instance, nung issue ng una ng pandemic, no? I was genuinely scared. Like, what the hell is our government doing? Hindi ba natin isasara? So, I would go like that. And pansin ko, that's where you get traction because people are looking for other people to be outraged, angry, what are they saying, something like that. But I would say, like, when you're still starting, you have to rightly use the hashtags, but don't overuse hashtags. Put it towards the end. Ang pinaka-pangit mo pwedeng gawin is like China said, and then hashtag China. Yung ang daming magulo, yung may blue, ganun, hindi mag-work yan. Pangit yan. You just do proper writing, and then sa baba, you can put hashtags and all. Or hanapin mo yung aning nagte-trend or something like that. Yeah. So generally,
tatanong ko naman, who are the main political sa Twitter na pinakamalaki? Like I said, sa YouTube, yung malalaki. Sa Pilipinas, in Philippine politics. Sino ang influential? Doesn't have to be big, pero influential.
Generally, I mean, even Lenny Robredo is very active there, right? De Lima is active there. Lacson has tried. He's doing kind of okay. Teddy Locsin is really, I think, the top guy when it comes to Twitter in the Philippines. He figured it out. I think Teddy Locsin is really the guy. He blocked me, so I don't know what is he saying, but I can get it from others. Na nagta-trash talk for us, yung parang pinapa-debate kami ganun. But I think, so we have a number of people actually from all sides doing very well. But I mean, Teddy Locsin used to be with the other side, right? So I mean, I'm not surprised he's doing very well on that. Yeah, but okay, kasi I also follow yung mga a lot of foreigners, no, Americans and friends of mine who are also doing very good at sila yung mga thought leaders sa kanila. So yun yung mga fino-follow ko, yung mga nag-write for The Atlantic, for New York Times, mga ganun. So yun yung mga fino-follow ko. So iba but I think in the context of the Philippines, I think Teddy Boy Locsin is really the guy, you know. He really know how. Kaso nag-deteriorate na yung style niya. Nagbumura-mura na siya. I think sayang yun. Kasi he used to get still a lot of engagement without doing that. So nasasayangan lang.
On the Liberal Party side, sinong malaki naman?
And then actually sa Twitter, marami dyan yung mga anonymous, yung mga spoof, yung mga satirical. Ay malalakas yung mga yun. Yan ang mga nag-bash sa akin ng big time nung nag-debate ako with Sasot. Like, I sold my soul. Anuin ko yung parang I'm enabler daw ako, yung mga ang lakas nila, and when they attack you parang ganun din yung kanila. Grabe talaga ang galing, tapos pare grabe yung wit nila tsaka yung alam mo balahura ng mga talagang yung wala ka ng respeto sa sarili mo, bababuin ka talaga yung para after mo binasa wala ka ng respeto sa sarili mo, para ang liit lang yung words na sinabi, ang galing para sa Ibang klase to. Hirap din pala kalabanin mga to. Tapos yung mga sinasabi nila kay Duterte, yung mga ganun, kawawa sila doon. Kawawa yung mga Duterte talaga doon sa Twitter. And I think it's about the platform. But speaking of long form and Twitter, but TikTok is like totally something else, no?
Yun pa.
Tell me about it. Kasi dahil sa'yo rin ako na-curious sa TikTok, although I'm yet to... basa ko, videos do very well on TikTok. Short videos really well.
Ang biggest misconception pa rin to many people ngayon, they still think TikTok is all dancing.
Yeah, puro silly stuff
yun pa rin. But it hasn't been that way for the last 2 years. Marami pa rin dancing and all the young girls are still dancing and the biggest stars are still dancing. Pero it's the main platform na kung saan nag-aawa yung mga tao where people let out their creative juices for a cause, for political man yan, advocacy man yan. If you ako kasi I followed yung sa TikTok yung elections sa the last election sa US kay Trump and Biden, and napaka-creative nung ginagawa on both sides.
Di ko nasabi, Lord De Vera, malakas talaga siya on Twitter. Si Lord De Vera rin malakas. Kaya I wanted to say, so, sabi ko may nakalimutan ako dito. Pasensya na. Okay, let's go.
Baka magtampo si Lord.
Ayan, mahirap na.
Awayin ka sa Twitter. Pero
malakas si Lord, grabe din yan. Sobrang sarcastic. Galing.
We should have YouTube din. Yun ang point ko. Yung mga power players at
hindi ko nga alam kaya
they should get YouTube.
Ang problema kasi Mark is pag may kontrata ka sa mainstream,
he has a contract sa mainstream.
And if you're earning well, I mean, I'll be honest, like that's why 2 years ago, or before pandemic, medyo hindi ako. Parang, dito na ako sa mainstream diba? And nangyari pandemic, so I was like, now you can do more stuff. So I'll just be honest about that. Because honestly, I was thinking Lord can also do podcast and all with us. But I think yun ang problema. Kasi ang tatalino kasi we are together friends when we meet, we talk about books and all. Si Sionel Jose, ang namin tatay namin, no? So we have discussed, sana pinodcast lang natin yan. But yun nga, problema, TV5 yung isa, GMA yung isa, ABS yung isa, mahirap yan. Yun ang problema.
So yun, going back to TikTok sa US elections, yung mga maka-Trump, yung mga ka-Biden, they would make videos na very creative, na kunyari yung latest trend, pero they would use that to hit the other side. Kunyari, di ba? Parang iba-iba kasing trend but they would use that.
Are there some people specifically you're following in the US as a role model for political videos?
Sino ba? I forgot their names na, hindi ko kabisado. Pero
kasi, I'm liking this podcast kasi parang naging instructional na siya. No? Parang, if you want to build an audience, watch this video and then go choose your platform.
Actually, some of the big stars sa YouTube, they started TikTok na din, tapos doon sila nag-away. Pero mga ordinary people lang kaya hindi ko maalala yung mga ibang names. Mga ordinary people lang na gagawa sila ng TikTok videos supporting Trump or supporting Biden.
Sanders,
or they would ang maganda sa TikTok, pwede ka magsagutan. 'Di ba? Parang merong function sa TikTok na you can either do it or you could stitch. Kunyari gumawa ka ng TikTok.
Yeah.
You make a 60-second video. I will get 5 seconds of that video and then sasagot ako sa iyo. So yun yung stitch. So
may duet.
So I will get your video nasa side ko, tapos pwede ako magsabi kung ano man yung response ko. Tapos pag nag-comment ka sa isang video ko, I could get your comment and then gagawa ako ng separate video answering your comment, and your comment is highlighted there.
So parang mga trash talk showdown, mga guys, mga hip-hop trash talk. Yo mama. Yeah.
In the Philippines, it's happening na din. And in fact, mas matapang. Yun ang masasabi ko. The opposition mas matapang sa TikTok. Maraming anti-government ang mas lumalabas na sa TikTok. So I would say
mga kabataan ba to? Ano to, Mark? Mga kabataan ba ito?
Halo-halo, some in their 20s, some in their 30s. Tapos they are very creative sa TikTok.
Very
I would send you. Hindi ko kabisado yung lahat ng mga names nila. But
maybe we can put the links and names below yung mga, kasi we want this podcast to be instructional, right? Kung ikaw ay walang idea of lay of the land, tingin mo lang lahat ng social media basura or lahat ng, pag tinignan mo yun, nakikita mo yung nuances, yung 50 shades of gray, no? Diyan sa social media. Napaka-complicated and depending on what platform, no? So you're saying on TikTok, may more oppositional, self-expressive.
Pantay. Here's the thing kasi. Si TikTok, for some reason, mas priority niya sa algorithm yung mga political post din. So minsan, may bata, gagawa ng video, pag nagsalita something about DDS, pro-DDS or anti-ganitong tao, yun ang papalakihin ni TikTok, yun na yung political commentator na siya. So ganun na yung mangyayari to get more views, to get more ano. So meron na ding ano, doon nagkuha yung rise ni Jam Magno. 'Di ba? Si Jam Magno, she's the biggest dun sa diba. Ano yan?
Perfect sa kanya kasi 'di ba yung parang ginagaya niya yung accent or whatever yung mga ganyan.
Yun. Tapos 1 minute video lang. Na ganun lang. So, she became a star there. Pero of course, naban na ata siya or I'm not really sure kung anong status na doon.
By the way, Mark, like how do you divide your time between the platforms? Like you get pieces from YouTube, put it on TikTok. Honey, how do you compartmentalize? I'm sorry, how do you synchronize?
Right now, I have my main
sorry, I hope you're not giving away trade secrets, no?
Yeah, of course, okay lang.
We're trying to be instructional lang here. Yeah.
Hindi ako kasi, I'm a YouTuber pa rin. There was a time na na-addict ako sa TikTok, napabayaan ko yung YouTube ko. So,
sabi mo nga sa akin, nakaka-addict daw yung TikTok.
Nakaka-addict kasi talaga.
Natakot ako lalo.
It's very fun. It's very fun. Kasi
grabe yung platform. Let me just say, because I'm like a China foreign policy guy, no? Like once I said like, wow, this is like iMovie. It's like, alam mo yung parang you go from second generation jet fighter to a fifth generation. Like grabe yung parang analog lang yung Facebook and Instagram compared sa TikTok. Yung level of technology, yung interface ay napaka next level talaga, no? At for me, like doon ko nakita yung technological power ng China, no? Like wow.
And yung AI ni TikTok, grabe algorithm niya. Alam ni TikTok kung anong hilig mo and he will keep on showing it to you. Mas I always say nga, alam ni TikTok ano yung tipo mo sa other girl or guy. Kung kunyari may crush kang babae, kung ano yung itsura, kung ano yung tipo mo sa isang babae, o kunyari ano yung tipo mo sa isang lalaki, TikTok would show it to you. Alam niya eh. Ito type ni Mark. Papakita pa ako ng ganyan.
Kasi I'll just be honest about that, Mike. Kasi Mark, walang privacy rights sa China, no? So in artificial intelligence, the more data you have, the easier for you to do algorithmic machine learning analysis. So dahil napakalaki yung access sila sa data, they're ahead of Americans probably and others who may have certain privacy rights consideration. Obviously, na-booking ang Facebook among others, which is going to be the last platform we're going to discuss.
Ang difference lang kasi
Analytica and all.
Ang difference lang with TikTok, ang tawag dito, it's very easy to make a video viral. Parang compared sa ibang platform, sa TikTok,
ang hirap, no?
Ang hirap. Sa TikTok mas madali. Napakadali magpa-viral ng video. Basta try ka lang ng try and may isa na makikita sa TikTok, ikakalat niya. So, it's parang nagma-my day ka lang pero pwedeng mag-viral. TikTok is so doing well right now na yung ibang platforms like Instagram, like Facebook and YouTube, sila yung nag-a-adjust to be more like TikTok.
Yeah, may shorts na sa YouTube.
YouTube shorts. Si Instagram more on video. Sila yung nag-a-adjust to be more like TikTok. Ganun na change. So yung question mo,
China is setting the trend.
Yeah.
China is setting the trend.
Yun. So yung question mo, how I manage my time, I'm still a YouTuber, pero yung video ko sa YouTube, I also post to my Facebook page. Sa Facebook page, mas maraming views ako pero mas maliit yung kita. Right. So hindi ko siya mas priority ko yung YouTube.
Facebook is not good for monetization, napansin ko, no? Medyo mahirap sa Facebook, no?
If your views are millions. Kung millions
exactly. Like, unless nas daily type ka or like mga project
sa Pilipinas meron sila Pio Balbuena, he's getting 2 million views per video. He can post a video every day. He's making a lot of money sa Facebook kumpara sa YouTube. So
you have to be in the millions,
Tapos pag natapos ko na yung if I already did by Facebook and YouTube, that's when I spend time sa TikTok. Kasi ganun, that's how I hinati ko yung araw. So tapos paminsan-minsan yung Instagram ko naman are for my models. Kasi wala masyadong politics sa Instagram So mostly dun yung models of Manila talaga nasa Instagram.
Twitter go back to basic aesthetics.
Yun. Sa Twitter ang wala akong oras. So I rarely use Twitter talaga.
Yeah. So let's go to the last topic, which is Facebook. May future pa rin bang Facebook? Mahalaga pa rin bang Facebook? I mean, of course, for me, Facebook is really my main platform. That's my thing. Well, pansin ko naman the engagement levels are still good among others. But I don't know. May future bang Facebook sa tingin mo?
Facebook is still the biggest.
Still the
Facebook
biggest.
is still the
Still
biggest.
the main street.
Still the main source of everything.
Okay.
Lalo na
It's
sa probinsya na may free Facebook. Yung mga
At hindi mo kailangan mas mabilis na internet para sa YouTube or even TikTok, no? Video yan no?
Oo.
So medyo analog kasi siya Yeah.
Facebook pa rin ang main na malakas. So I think ang magiging awayan diyan Facebook and TikTok. Sa YouTube kasi, malakas siya pero mas konti yung tao.
Pero hatak mo sila.
Pero grabe yung grabe yung
mas concentrated tapos yung Facebook ganun, 'di ba?
Oo So Facebook mas kalat, mas lahat, tas mas maraming sabay-sabay. So so it's a free for all din pagdating sa pero in fairness to Facebook marami siyang moves to improve yung kanyang sistema para mabawasan.
I think they're gonna try a TikTok style rin. I think Facebook is gonna dating na nga di ba?
I mean to combat yung mga fake news na pages.
Some algorithmic
it's much more stricter na when it comes to magbo-boosting ka. So kailangan you would give your ID, they would identify kung sino yung nagbayad nun. So hindi katulad before na pwede kang manira ng ibang tao. May credit card ka lang, gagamitin mo yung Facebook na paninira.
Well, that's why siguro yung mga trolls mag-migrate na rin kasi naiipitan na sila sa Facebook siguro. I don't know. I mean, let's see.
Facebook is still the anuhan ng mga trolls. Diyan pa rin talaga sila mag-aaway. Which is my biggest complaint sa Facebook. Facebook kasi napaka-toxic pa rin and they still encourage bullying doon sa kanilang sistema. Ito ang main difference ng TikTok tsaka ng Facebook mas maganda yung TikTok in this sense Alam mo ba sa TikTok you can approve lahat ng comments sa post mo?
Yes, option, diba? That's interesting. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Actually, in fairness, mas friendly, user friendly.
Yeah, you take away the power ng mga naninira sa comment section. Kasi walang makakabasa ng comment nila.
Stitch. Yung sinabi mo sa akin, tanggalin mo yung duet or stitch para hindi ka
pwede mo ding tanggalin yung duet or stitch para hindi di ba? Para hindi din magawa sa iyo. Unlike kay Facebook, pag magpo-post ka, dapat merong option na tanggalin yung mga reacts Kasi isipin mo, kunyari I would post I like this candidate, tapos people would react haha. That's a form of bullying di ba? Dapat may option si Facebook na I can take that away.
Balahura talaga. Balahura ang in-encourage niya. Pansin ko rin ako, mag-post ako ng one line lang na balahura. Dear vlogger, mga yan, click kagad yan. 1,000, 2,000 lahat yan. Pero pag medyo mga nuance, sometimes good, sometimes not Parang it encourages you to be medyo balahura. Yun ang napansin ko minsan sa Facebook, kaya you have to self-control talaga.
And yung mga news outlets din, ang reklamo ko din, yung mga comment section ng mga news outlets, they're the ones encouraging hate among between Filipinos. Dapat they should allow din the option.
Circus.
They should allow an option. Kunyari, a news, Inquirer or Philstar or Manila Bulletin, na to turn off their comments. O di wala na mag-aaway. Diba? Ganun kadali.
Mag-react na lang kayo.
Mag-react na lang kayo or mag-like na lang kayo or i-share nyo at mambash kayo pero sa wall mo. Wag doon sa public space na pwede kayo mag-away-away. Diba? Walang
minsan napansin ko, yan ang titignan nila, di ba? Tingnan nila news, tapos tignan nila yung comment section. Tapos minsan mas okay pa yung ma-exciting pa sila, ma-excite pa sila sa comment section.
Yes, they enjoy yung pag-aaway doon and it's toxic So they should really review that. So ako, yun ang reklamo ko sa Facebook.
I've been through all, alam mo naman, grabe yung mga trolling sa akin sa Facebook over the years. But here we are. So, wow, finally, we have this episode, podcast episode analysis of all the major platforms. No? So we went from YouTube, starting with Jake Paul fight, and then we went to Twitter, and then we look at TikTok, then we look at Facebook, a little bit discussion about Instagram on the sidelines. But let's see, kasi nag-evolve pa itong mga platform. Meron ka ng YouTube Shorts and mga others. So there's a lot we can do in terms of content creation and all. So hopefully in the future our listeners can also interact with us kung may questions sila. Siguro pwede tayo gumawa ng crash course, no, how to build audience and everything like that, but in a responsible way, not too baity or anything like that. Salamat, Mark, no. I really enjoyed this discussion. I hope more people will do this kind of multi-platform analysis na, kasi puro mga social media, but it depends may levels, di ba? May levels. So thanks very much, Mark, and thanks everyone for keeping up with us. Medyo matagal yata ang discussion natin dito. And next episode, mababalik tayo sa politika ulit, no? And there's still a lot to discuss, and hopefully we'll have updates also on Manila politics, on LGUs, hopefully on Yorme Isko, among others. Kaya abangan nyo. Thank you very much, and here is the episode 2 of Project Pilipinas.
Pilipinas.
Yep.